Welcome to Bassmaster Radio, presented by Phoenix Boats, the show for fishermen by fishermen. Today's show is brought to you by Enigma Fishing. Cast, catch, repeat. Visit Anderson, South Carolina, home of beautiful Lake Hartwell. Phoenix Boats, experience the difference. And by the Bass Anglers Sportsman Society. Now, here's lifetime BASS member Tom Abraham.
And welcome back, Phoenix Boats, Bassmaster Radio. And look, I don't do this intentionally. All right, so sometimes we do it intentionally. Sometimes we have Phoenix pros on because, you know, Phoenix is our title sponsor, and they got a great, great list of pros. But a lot of times it's just guys, I'm going to have them, and then, oh, well, hey, he runs a Phoenix too. And that's the case with Cliff Prince, who joins us from Florida. He is a Phoenix pro as well, and he joins us here on Bassmaster Radio. Cliff, welcome in, man. How are you?
Man, I'm just glad to be here, man. I'm great. I'm ready to get this year started, man. It seems like we had a short off season, but it sure has seemed like it's been very long.
Yeah.
And everything that's transpired with, I mean, just trying to get everything situated and going, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, look, it starts in Palatka, which is in your backyard, literally in your backyard. Yep. I mean, this is as good as it gets. So all of the guys that played a Rapala Fantasy Fishing out there, you know, they're going to have Cliff Prince on their team. You got to have Cliff Prince on your team. And, you know, it was such a weird year there last year. All the water got blown out. We had all that weather. The tournament got shortened. Yep. And yet you finished fourth place. You had a better tournament than you did there the year before, which wasn't a bad tournament. Just talk about those conditions and what you expect to be different in a couple of weeks when we get ready to get it started again.
Well, you know, February, you can either knock it out of the park here and it just be off the chain really good, and then February can also be brutal. It's really our winter. February, especially the 1st of February, it can be just brutal here, you know, with those real strong cold fronts and that sort of thing. When I say a strong cold front, I mean strong winds and lows in the 20s. You know, I know that's not cold to a lot of people, but it's cold to these fish down here because they're not used to it. And with the wind we had last time, it just changed everybody's ball game. And I mean, I think I had 10 pounds the first day, and it took 2 weeks for those fish to adjust to what happened. So I just hope that doesn't happen again, because I feel like those guys would have really caught them last year like they did the year before. And I hope for a good tournament for everybody.
Well, I mean, you finished in fourth place with 41 pounds. Let's compare that to, you know, the year before. Rick Clun's in there. I think he had 35 pounds in one day. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it just shows how tough it can get.
Yeah. And, you know, if it would have went 4 days, I think I probably could have pulled that one off, because I think a lot of guys was running out of stuff, and mine was just starting to get right. But, you know, there again, they said it was 3 days, and it's the same for everybody. So everybody's got to, you know, grind it out the best they can. And I look forward to this one. This one's going to be a tough one, too, I feel like. You know, there's just no grass here, and it's going to congregate a lot of guys in the same place, a lot of guys doing the same thing. And it's going to – this place is huge, but it's going to fish small.
Well, explain that when you say there's no grass. I mean, what happened? Where is the grass? I mean, it's Florida. There's grass everywhere. Why is that the situation right now there?
Well, you know, I can't explain it. You know, 5 years ago when those storms come through and wiped it all out, I figured within 3 years it was going to start coming back, and that's not the case. I mean, there's less grass here now than there was last year and the year before that, and why it's not coming back, I don't know. The water's cleared up. The water's been low enough. No excuse. I can't explain it.
How has it fished, you know, up until this point? How has it been fishing? Because obviously we know what the conditions were last year before and after the tournament, but how has it been fishing at this point?
Well, you know, my son and I fished a tournament, a little old jackpot tournament, 3 weeks ago, and we didn't catch a keeper. And I tried to catch him. And then he had a 2-day high school deal. Saturday was a tournament and Sunday was a separate tournament. The first day he had 5 that went 5-something, and we fished everything that I'd been bit on in the last month. And it was a brutal weekend. Wind blew, cold front.
Wow.
You know, still no excuse to only have 5 that weighed 5 pounds. And then the next day he had 14 something. So it took 18 to win Saturday and 24 to win Sunday, and the boys that won Sunday had a 10-pounder.
Wow.
So, but they still had 4 good ones. They still had 14 pounds with 4. So, you know, they had a good bag.
And now, is it still all the usual places? I mean, are a lot of people going to be in Lake George? Is there different spots now that, you know, maybe in a way sometimes when it's your body of water that's your home lake, you get so familiar with it, you don't look at different water that you haven't fished in the past. You know, what do you expect it to be like with this deal?
Well, this is my problem. I go to these places where we normally catch them, and I see what it looks like now, and I'm like, they don't live here no more. And obviously they do, because people like Kelly J and people like that, they go in these places and they don't know what it looked like 5 years ago. And they go in there and they figure a little something out and they make it work. Where I go in there and I'm like, well, I'm loading my stuff up and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And you know, that's, you know, and these guys are good. I mean, they find them, and there's not a stone unturned when you turn these guys loose in these places like this. And there's always somebody figures out a little something that's off the wall. I mean, look what Rick's done, you know.
He's throwing a spinnerbait around, you know, around docks and way up against the bank and everything with monofilament line. You know what I mean? He's out there like it's 1979 and he's catching 30 pounds.
I know, man. I just shake my head when I watch it, and you know, I had some fish down in that area, and the first day of the tournament, I caught my limit. I had 16 or 17 pounds, and I had seen a few beds down there in that area. So about noon, I take off and I run down there where Rick's at, and I see him over there, and I troll through there, and I look at those few beds, and I'm like, well, this isn't happening. And I crank up, and I leave, and I go run north of Palatka. Mm-hmm. And he's down there catching 25, 30 pounds, and I'm catching 3-pounders on these bars up here, and not even in the ball game, you know.
So you're not giving the fantasy guys a lot of confidence that they need to pick Cliff Prince. I mean, I don't know if you're sandbagging us here or what, because we always put Cliff Prince on the team, you know, at the St. John's River. So I don't know. Now, if this thing goes 4 days, I mean, is it 55, 60 pounds to win, or does it? You know, what do you think? How big will it go?
Well, I'll put it to you this way: if we have some cold weather right before that, and then all of a sudden we get a 5-day warming trend, it's going to take 80 pounds or better, right, you know. But if we get some warm weather and they try to move up, and then all of a sudden the cold front hits Wednesday night, it's going to be tough again. Yeah. You know, and it's going to be low weights, you know, to win. You know, when you talk to these guys around here, you know, before they announced the tournament, I'm talking to all these guys, I'm like, man, what's happened to the grass? What's happening? And they're like, well, the fish are still here. We're just having to catch them different ways. But the problem is the guys that are winning with these big weights, the 25, the 26, the 27 pounds, they're catching 6 fish all day. Yeah. And we're used to catching 25 fish. Right. You know, and coming in with that weight. And just the numbers aren't there, and a lot of people fishing the same stuff, and you know, and it's like I say, it's going to fish small. Yeah. I feel like.
Cliff Prince with us here talking about the upcoming event, the season opener at the St. John's River, and how this whole thing might go down. And you know, it wasn't the kind of year you wanted last year. You know, you get the good finish at Palatka, you get the 4th place finish in the opener, and then we have the big break, yep, and it's a whole nother thing. How much of that had to do with your struggles? Because a Florida guy running around in the fall, I mean, that must have been a little bit tough. Of course, you went up north as well, but it never got going for you again.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I can't explain it. You know, I was really kind of looking forward to fishing some of those places later in the year, and I just, I found some fish, and I mean, Bernie and I room together. Bernie Schultz and I room together, and Santee, he almost wins the tournament, and I found the same fish, and he was just in a different rotation with me, and he winds up during there winning the tournament, and I don't even make the cut.
Yeah.
So, him and I sharing information, and he just made it work, and I didn't. And no excuse, I just didn't catch him.
Yeah. Finally, we talk about the Florida bass and how they are affected by the weather. Why is that, in your mind? Why do you think that Florida bass are more skittish when it comes to weather than any other bass in the country?
We just don't have that many cold days here, and now I don't say that they don't like cold weather or cold water. It takes them a while to adjust to it.
Yeah.
When you have a sudden cold front like we do, it just shuts them down for a day or two, and then they'll fire right back up, and it's like nothing ever happened. But why that is, I can't explain it, but it sure does affect them.
I always thought it had because they got nowhere to go. It's like, they're fishing. They live in 3 or 4 feet of water, and then when something bad happens, they go deep, like 8 feet. You know what I mean? It's not like it doesn't seem like they don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, deep here on the St. John's is 10 foot. You catch one in 10 foot, you caught him deep. So,
you're fizzing them.
That's true.
You bring them up from 10 feet, you got to fizz them. It's just not something that you normally have. But, Cliff Prince has been our guest. Cliff, I appreciate you so much. I'm still putting you on the fantasy team, so go out there and tear it up for us, and we wish you the best of luck this year, man.
Yes, sir, we'll do, and I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. That's Cliff Prince joining us
Thank
there,
you, man.
and he really is so good down there in that Florida water, and I honestly believe that. I believe that it's the big problem there is they just got nowhere to go. They just got nowhere to go.